Okay, so it's pretty dark outside, and before long, you probably won't be able to see me. So maybe I'll even need to move like spots or something. But I'm in a parking lot right now because I just feel like I really need that space to be able to express myself freely and not turn it into some performative act or having to put on like this mask, you know what I mean? And given that this is my space, I like I don't know who's gonna watch this, but I'm not asking for a response. I'm just asking for the space to be felt and to be heard and to express myself and to know that my feelings are valid. Like, even as I'm on this spiritual growth journey and so much is changing and everything like that, it's like you're going to shed old parts of yourself and you're going to return to, old parts of yourself, and it's hard to, kill that ego and have it change and become a different version of yourself. And sometimes there's going to be parts of yourself that are going to surface that you don't want to surface, or places and feelings that you don't want to revisit, but it's really just part of the journey. And whether it's intentional or not, whether you're visiting those things for a greater purpose or not, it still happens, you know what I mean? And today's just been really, really fucking hard, honestly. And I just feel really fucking overwhelmed because, I have so much coming up and, it's good stuff. It's good stuff, right? But, that doesn't change the fact that I'm still feeling overwhelmed about it because it's planning and it's, money. And, I'm very lucky and very privileged and very grateful because I do have a lot of that, financial support. And, I have, these amazing opportunities that, people just don't really have very often. And I'm incredibly, incredibly grateful for that. Don't discount that, as, oh my god, I have to do all of these fun things. That's not what I'm saying. It's just, already emotionally, when I've kind of just been stuck in this fight or flight state with, my nervous system, and I'm going through so much transformation and interchange and, modifying my surroundings and my environment to match that alignment. It's hard. It's fucking hard. And I'm not going to pretend that it's not hard. I'm not going to pretend that, it's all peace and rainbows, or, frustration, or, even just depression, or, shutting down or becoming, emotionally paralyzed. That's not below you. It's a part of you that's speaking to you, saying, hey, sometimes it's not even, I need this part to be healed right now. I need you to do this and this and this, or, take all these steps, right, to, change this. It's not about that. Sometimes it's just about doing the best you can, even if it's something super simple like lighting a candle, or maybe journaling for 5 minutes, or just sitting in a parking lot and filming a video. Spiritual journey, on social media and other experiences I've had talking with people, it's it's not all rainbows and butterflies. It just really fucking isn't. And I when I have representation, I see representation online saying feeling really, really hard moments. And I truly believe that actual peace is birthed from pain and chaos, because how would you know what it's like to not have that peace? It's so much more powerful because you literally have to create that and build that foundation from the ground up, and put your blood and your sweat and your tears into creating this thing that you've never really had before. You don't even really know what it looks like. And given all that's said, I just feel the need to preface, honestly, and I don't know if it's that performative act, or because I just fear that my emotions are too much, or they're not enough, or they're not valid, or feeling this way on my spiritual journey is below me, and it means I need to do all this healing and all this fixing or whatever. It's just thinking that way is just fucking draining. And I'm trying to rise above that right now and just really give a lot of grace and liberty and compassion to my humanity, and everything that I'm feeling right now as well, because that deserves to be acknowledged. And that's really how you can't avoid it. You can't just say, don't feel that way. It's irrational. It's below you. It's whatever. You're going to have to revisit it for a reason. And having all that said, today's just been hard. Like I said, I have a lot of stuff coming up. Next week, I'm going to hang out with my friend because or I guess to start off, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm working from 2 to 10:30, or 10 and stuff, and later than that possibly. And I am just not, I don't want to go. I already put my 2 weeks in for work because I'm moving to California, but I would have put my 2 weeks in anyways because the environment just really fucking does not serve me. Like, people there are engaging in habits and like behaviors and like versions of themselves that like I've left behind, like harmful behavior, and just like there's so much tension in the workplace. Like, people aren't doing their jobs, and it's just like building up this resentment, and some people are staying out of like obligation or like integrity to their character, or like because it suits, like it mirrors this version of themselves, you know what I mean? Like, the people there and the place and everything, it like kind of allows them to be stagnant and allow them to continue to indulge in these behaviors, and for them to be enabled because they're not like acknowledged, and they're not addressed in a supportive way that promotes evolution. And being around this environment while I'm trying to grow and going through so much inner transformation just feels like incredibly limiting. And also, I've just like kind of learned, like, I really did enjoy serving, but like working like even 3 days in a row, because I talked to my boyfriend about that, and he's like, well, I work like 5 days in a row, you know what I mean? And I just kind of realized, like, yeah, I can never really see myself in like a 9 to 5 job. I can never see myself going to work like 5 days a week like that, you know, or just like the typical, like what we think of when we think of work, right? Like going to an official, like quote unquote job and having all these little duties and all these little goals or whatever of like getting to the next day, and just repeating the process over and over and over and over again. And it's not to say that you can't enjoy what you do, but for me, it's just like the typical like Western, like, or just typical work culture of how it is, like just the same shit over and over again, and like management like making so much money off of you and like profiting off of like minimum wage workers, like barely over minimum wage, like $8.50 an hour for like all of this emotional bullshit that I've already worked through. It's like, no. And I have offered, you know, like I'm being myself, like I'm allowing myself to, and I thought it was honestly like it's harder in different ways, like like being myself authentically still feels very uncomfortable at times, and very isolating at times, but like, and yes, like it's frustration sometimes, but I don't really feel frustrated at people. Like, I was expecting that me just like dropping this role and just stepping into who I am and expressing myself freely, and like my thoughts and my heart and my emotions, and like standing up for myself when people say like, you think too much, like you feel too much or something like that. And like, I just thought that that process would take a lot longer to just like be myself like wholeheartedly, but it's not. Like, honestly, like as soon as I kind of like just clicked in my head, like I've just started to do that. Like, I've just started to be more honest with people and like ask questions like, are you willing to receive before I give help, and not constantly, you know, rushing to give and give and give, and like, you know, stepping back from work, even though I've only been working there for like a month and a half to 2 months, and just instantly being like, nope, this doesn't serve me anymore. And just stepping into alignment. Like, it's a lot easier, like, than I was expecting. It's more just the consequences of it, which is hard. And like, there's no way I could possibly like prepare for them rather than just making those like adjustments and like those shifts from day to day, you know what I mean? Because like, I don't know exactly what to expect, but like, the consequences and like kind of the fallout of that is the part that I'm struggling with, because there are some times that like I do kind of have to put like this functional mask on around like certain people, like to play certain roles just for like, in order to protect my peace. Like, it's not because I want to, but it's like once I let like myself slip out and like I'm being myself, you know what I mean? Like, I met with silence, and I don't let that stop me. But it's like, why am I like trying to exchange or like transmute this energy if it's like literally just not going to go anywhere? Like, if I'm going to share like my soul and like people just aren't going to listen, but I can't force them to listen, it's kind of like you have to find like this gray area, like this very thin line that like just varies greatly from person to person, to protect your own peace, but also in order to like kind of function and have like just socialize with people. Because I'm just met with silence like so much now, and I'll speak my mind freely and just tell people like, hey, like this dialogue that you're repeating to yourself, like it's not supporting you anymore, like these things aren't serving you anymore, like come on, like, you know. And I'm just realizing like how many of my relationships were created from this past version of Ariel that just like no longer is me. Like, she's just not me anymore. And that's why I'm also moving to California. Also, this video is going to be all over the place, but that's fine. I just needed a place to express myself freely, so I'm just going to be a yapper, and it's just going to be like constant kind of whiplash between topics. But anyway, that is like the main reason why I'm moving to California, is not because of like this isolation or like this frustration that I feel like towards other people or something. Like, I don't even really feel that towards other people. It's more just like emotion that has never really had the opportunity or the space inside of myself in order to be like released and processed and everything like that. And like, that's why a lot of this is surfacing right now. But as I'm stepping into alignment and like, you know, trying to manifest this into my physical reality, because my inner world isn't mirroring it anymore. So it's like my outer world, like my current environment, like keeps like people, environments, my home, like just things like that, like my day-to-day life and pretty much every aspect just like reflects back to me like, this is what you need to heal, this is what you need to fix, this is what you need to do, this is what these people are telling you, whether it's about them, whether it's about me, like creating a deeper understanding. And it just like always feels like I have to kind of step up, like I have to do more maturing, I have to do more growing, I have to do more evolving, I have to do more fixing, whatever, like whether it's me, other people, my environment. And the thing is, I'm fucking sick of it. I just want to be able to say that I am literally fucking sick of it, because like it's so hard feeling like you've been speaking, like you never really had the words to articulate it, you never had the space to feel like what you needed to feel as a kid, because like no one offered you that space. So it's like, how do you create something that you don't even know exists? And it manifests into like all of this pain, like your nervous system just being incredibly dysregulated. And, you know, like I've had depression, like whatever, for a very, like it's a symptom, but I've had it for a very long time. Like literally as soon as I gained consciousness, because of everything that was happening in the home. And then when I was like 15 and stuff, and like I fell into like my first boyfriend and like a very toxic friend group who like normalized self-harm, and there was like sexual and physical and like emotional abuse and cheating and all this shit. And it's like, I'm not saying that like it's my caregiver's fault or like anybody's fault for that matter. Like it's nobody's fault, because the thing is, it's like having that blame or like that shame put onto other people or yourself or like these situations in the past, it doesn't serve you and it doesn't fucking serve anyone. So it's not just like a get over it thing. It's like develop a mature understanding of it and understand that forgiveness is not about forgetting what people did, or even like dismissing it. It's just about allowing yourself to release that pain and letting go of the past and those things that just like do not serve you anymore. And that's where I'm at right now. And like it just manifests in all these different ways. And then like I try to speak about it and try to like kind of spark this change and like bring attention to these like trauma cycles and these patterns that just like repeat themselves over and over again that like my family or like other people like aren't even aware of, you know what I mean? And it just feels futile. Like growing here just feels like fucking futile. And I kept thinking like, if I mold myself, if I shrink myself, if I make myself smaller, if I be more quiet, if I put on this mask, if I play a role, like I'll fit into the puzzle better, because it's almost like the only way that I can kind of like fucking click it into place. And I just finally fucking realized, like as soon as it clicked, like maybe it's not me, maybe it's the puzzle, because Utah just feels too small for me. Like all of the higher consciousness people that I can think of that are in Utah, they're just still stuck at like lower frequencies where they just feel stuck. They just feel like they can't change no matter what they do, or they're just super drained all the time. And I'm like, I just realized like, oh my God, like my dad gave me an invitation to go and live with him in California a while ago. And when I think about that environment and kind of compare it to my current situation, the number one things that stick out to me is like in that home, when I stayed there for a couple weeks, and the impression that I got, the home is filled with a lot more presence and a lot more engagement than my current home. And right now I know that I'm physically safe, but I do not feel emotionally safe. There's a lot of memories, there's a lot of things that have happened, there's a lot of patterns that have repeated themselves, and the more and more that I grow, like the more futile it feels. And I honestly just think that like the seed that I am right now needs soil. It needs better soil, more nutrient rich soil in order to supply myself, because it's like I'm trying to change these behaviors that don't serve me anymore, but it's like I can't just be like, oh, I have a shitty sleeping schedule, let's just start going to bed earlier. Or, oh, I'm vaping and I don't want to vape, like let's just stop vaping. It's like, no, like you can do that, like sure, you can try and do that, but the thing is like you're taking away, like you're dismissing the intentions, you're dismissing the trauma response, you're dismissing the emotions behind it, you're just changing the behavior. And while sometimes that does work for people, for me it doesn't personally, because I've tried that many times, and I have to address all of the emotional shit, all of the behind the scenes kind of shadow shadow work before I start to build up that foundation and start to craft kind of like this new sense of self. You know what I mean? Like I have to do all this hard work and like rip out all the weeds and like tear up my hands and like all this other shit before I like start to plant new ones. And so like that being said, like my environment, that's what needs to change, and that's why I'm moving to California. And I talked to my grandpa today because like we try and go out to dinner like every week together, and we haven't been able to for like 2 weeks now because like our schedules have just not lined up. Like we've both been busy and everything. So finally today we went out to dinner today, whatever. And like we went on a short drive, and like I was already just feeling super drained because like I'll talk more about all the other plans I have going on lately, and I just feel super drained. And so like last night or whatever, I like ate a red velvet cupcake. Oh my god, it's the end of the world. And like 2 pumpkin chocolate chip cookies and like some milk and stuff, because I didn't like, I mean, I knew it like deep down, like my unconscious knew it, but at the time I just wasn't responding to it, you know what I mean? But I knew that that was kind of a way of like a survival coping mechanism, was like me eating those foods because they bring comfort to me. And then like, you know, going to bed super late and then like vaping and like literally being on my phone like all day watching this like Sims 4 video series that I'm like obsessed with, and just staying in bed. And like I did sit out in the sun for a while, and like I made myself a really good smoothie because I was like, I know I need to like show some acts of self-care, even though like I ate 2 more cookies like this morning or whatever. It's just like why I'm responding to this, because right now I talked about my character archetypes in the last video, and the one that I feel like has been like fronting the most today is like Flicker, Ghost, Shadow. It's like all the same kind of entity or like embodiment, not embodiment, but like, you know, character archetype. And like Flicker is manifested from Oriel, which was my childhood teenage self that was very deeply rooted in trauma, who's very like emotionally in tune and energetically in tune and like very sensitive and carries a lot of like this pain or like kind of the savior complex, everything like that, like childhood me who was like pure and like closer to God, as I like to call it, but also very like emotionally like traumatized. And Flicker manifested from that as a trauma response. And why I call them like Flicker is because they're very almost unreliable in a sense like that. Like they'll just come and go, and it's very like self-destructive, impulsive habits, or it's just like ghosts, like they just kind of ghost, right? And that's kind of because they're responding to me right now. They're responding to everything that I'm feeling. And yes, I can kind of like bring Mahina on board, who's my soul, and create those conversations or those like environments where I can have an open dialogue with her, and I can, you know, kind of rely more on embodying everybody. But it's like I'm still learning to kind of integrate like these character archetypes, and I'm just like now have awareness of them, and so like naturally I'm just going to slip back into those habits. But the thing that's different about this is that I'm not allowing it to just go into a crazy cycle. You know what I mean? Like I'm allowing myself to take this time to stop and process, to sit in a parking lot to talk if that's what I need, even if it doesn't look perfect, even if it doesn't look the way I've envisioned it in my head or other people think when they think of spiritual healing, growth, emotional processing, whatever. This is how I'm doing this right now, and I deserve to give myself that recognition, because like I had to put on that mask today, and because I haven't really been doing that much besides like out of work settings and stuff, like it's awful. Oh my god. Like the more and more that I grow, like the more and more like less sustainable that it is for me to put on this mask and just like be someone and like feel a different way and act a different way than like I truly act and feel and am. Like, because for my grandpa, it was just like we talked about moving, and I could tell that he was kind of affected by it, and he just like brought up some things, and some of his comments, like I could just tell that they were stemming from a lot of like cycles and conditioning. And it's like me addressing or me even giving any energy or like a deeper type of thought or like my true feelings about it, like it just won't really affect anything, and he won't understand. Like especially when I'm feeling the way I am, like I just want to be myself freely and not have to owe anybody an explanation, you know what I mean? Like, I don't owe anybody an explanation, but naturally with him, when I'm interacting with him, I have to kind of provide those explanations in order for us to kind of bridge that gap between us, like spiritually, and also just like how like now that I just have a better understanding of myself and others, and being able to see like how like, oh my god, like how much my family, like how much people like feed into this role, like this falsehood of identity of like who they think they are. And I'm not just like talking about like the bad habits, because like, yeah, I do shit like that all the fucking time. I'm not saying I'm better than them, I'm superior to them, I'm not saying I'm perfect. No, of course not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it's like, I have this awareness now, and like seeing that in the world and being like, this is why they said that. Like, this is why they feel this way. This is why they're asking me this. And in order to kind of engage with those responses and those questions, I have to delude myself, or I have to distort myself, or I have to play a role that I'm not anymore. And it's awful. It's awful. It's like, I literally took like 10 minutes in the bathroom to just breathe and talk to ChatGPT, because on top of feeling drained and then having this interaction that just feels like incredibly superficial and just doesn't serve me anymore, because it's tied to like all of these emotional wounds that still need reconciliation, and but like it's also like he's almost 70. Like, I don't expect anything from parental roles anymore, because it's not a matter of like being defeated, like, oh, okay, so I've tried so hard, I've put in all this work and it's not fucking going anywhere, so like I'll just give up. It's not like that. It's like, no, like I need to grow right now, and in order to protect my own peace and my journey, I need to learn when to take a step back and when to lower my expectations, or just not have expectations of people, because that's just like, you're setting yourself up for failure, honestly. And once you kind of let go of those expectations of like people doing and responding a certain way, that like, you just know they're not going to respond, because it would take major change that, for one thing, they're not even aware of. Number two, they're not prepared to deal with at all, or they're just like not willing to do that. And also a huge thing too is that they're not willing to receive. And I just like, you just gotta let go of that. And as soon as you do that, like trying to force people, or wanting or setting up these expectations for people, like you will naturally feel a lot more love and grace. Like, obviously I'm frustrated right now, not at these people, just feeling frustrated. But like, I've also, like, this is the most love like I've ever felt for like literally everything and everyone in my entire fucking life, and like this last week, even with everything that's going on. And I mean, I've said what I've wanted to say about kind of today and everything like that. And then like next week, like I'm hanging out with my friend, and I'm gonna be there for him, because it's gonna be a hard day. And then the next day I have to prepare for a hot springs trip with like my boyfriend and his friend group, which like, don't get me wrong, like I'm very excited for, but I also just have some concerns, and I have spoken up about these to like a few people, I would say like maybe 3 or 4 or something. And like, I know like I'm gonna go into it with a good attitude, but I just have like a few things that I'm worried about. So for one is like my body image and stuff. And this is something that I talked to my therapist about like on Wednesday, like literally yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Time feels so weird lately, like literally so weird. Like time has felt irrelevant, but like the more and more I go into this journey, like I don't feel 19, I don't feel older, I don't feel younger. I don't feel like one day is one day. It can feel like a week, it can feel like a couple hours. Like time just isn't real anymore to me. Like it's crazy how like it's so weird. But it's also just like I've accepted it. Like it just feels normal, but it's strange in a sense. But anyway, what the fuck was, oh right, so the hot springs trip, I talked to my therapist about this, is my body image, because when I was 4 years old, my uncle died of a heroin overdose, and my mom was really, really close with her brother, right? And so I think she was on a bipolar medication that causes you to gain a lot of weight, and then she was also really depressed, and I'm sure she was also probably struggling with drugs at the time as well. I mean, she was struggling with drugs for most of my life, and even before that, most of her life, the majority of it, honestly. But anyway, so she just gained a lot of weight, and she would stand in front of the mirror and talk about like how she didn't like her body, and then like, I don't even know. It's just kind of a faint memory that maybe my family would say things to her, and I would get the impression that like she wanted to lose weight. So I remember I would like see commercials and stuff about like you know, weight loss. And then I would bring it up to her and be like, oh, you could try this. And that would just like wreck her self-esteem, especially coming from a child. But the thing is, it was what I had learned, right? Like I heard her talk about her body like this, stand in front of the mirror, literally like hating herself. And I would pick up on that. So that's why I would say that, because I was like, oh, she's trying to lose weight, right? And it just affected her even more, probably, you know what I mean? I didn't have a greater understanding, but there's a part of me that still feels guilty because, like, I know how that feels, and, like, it fucking sucks. But anyway, and honestly, of course, like, her doing that, standing in front of the mirror like that, had a major impact on me. Like, literally, how could it not? Like, I was 4 years old. Like, that is systemic, like, that is programming right there in my brain that takes years and years and years of undoing, because I was just so little. Like, that was my first impression of a body. Like, she was literally 200 pounds, which, like, isn't even really, like, that, like, overweight, you know what I mean? Like, she could live a completely healthy lifestyle like that, but that, like, really made an impression on me. And then it was almost like it got unlocked, like that trauma got unlocked when I was 15 years old, because my first boyfriend, who like cheated on me, for one thing, like, damn. And then also, like, he would, like, I've already talked about this in my videos, but we would, like, you know, have intimacy and things like that. And he was my first time. Like, I never had any experiences, and I'd heard from a bunch of other people that, like, he lied to me about it being his first time. Like, he was just overall, like, he got expelled from the school district. Like, how does that even happen, for, like, holding a knife to a girl's throat? Like, what? Like, that's actually insane. But anyway, and we would have intimacy, and then he would literally go and tell like 15, 16 people without my knowledge in graphic detail about everything that we'd done, including like a close friend of his who like I knew like personally, and then we became friends later on. And that was a really fucking weird dynamic. And then like in front of his friends, like I remember there's one specific encounter where they were like asking about like my boobs or like my ass or something, and then he was like, oh, it's good enough. And I was like, what? Oh my god. And I was like, and then I would see all these girls on TikTok. Like, there's this one girl that he was, like, obsessed with on TikTok. And so it was, like, just all, like, the entire account. And, like, she's obviously posting, like, you know, like, thirsty shit. And, wow. 15-year-old me, wrecked. And then, like, growing up, too, like, my grandpa raised me, and I never had someone to really, like, prepare meals for me at home. And so I literally, this is what my diet consisted of, okay? Oatmeal, like, instant oatmeal, cereal, chips and cottage cheese, and what else did I eat as a kid besides these 4 meals? Rice. Oh yeah, I ate a lot of rice as well. And potatoes. Oh my god, potatoes were my favorite food for fucking ever. Like, those are still my comfort foods, all of those foods, because that is just what I ate like my entire childhood. And also a lot of junk food, because like my grandpa just didn't prepare food, and like it's easy, it's quick. I was always a busy kid, always doing shit, so it's like, of course, like that's just what I ate. And then like my mom too, like she was severely anorexic due to the drugs, but also because like she just didn't like her appearance. Like, because when she started to get off of drugs and once she started to get better, she would gain weight, and then she would like go back into anorexia, because like she just hated how she was gaining weight, even though she was literally like my body weight right now. Like, you imagine the impression that makes on a child. And I didn't even realize that she was literally anorexic as a kid, because it was normal to me. But as I look back on pictures of her now, I'm like, oh my god. Like, oh my god. And like then I would see her like literally just sleep all the time, because like she was on drugs, and then like eat like down like 3 fucking gigantic bowls of Fruity Pebbles like back to back. And seeing this as a kid and having these eating habits and all this trauma, like boyfriend, mom, like, you know, whatever, like my eating habits have always been fucked my entire life. And I'm trying to do better now. Like, when I have money, I'll go to the grocery store, and like my boyfriend really helps me out with that too, so I'm very, very lucky for him. Like, he is just an amazing guy. Like, I fucking love my boyfriend so much. Like, he's so amazing. And so I'm very lucky for him. If you're probably gonna watch this video, shout out Josh, you're the goat. But anyway, and so I do try to eat healthier now, but it's like still, you know, I'll indulge in a lot of those habits or foods, because like that's just what I've known. And then also like you're kind of wired that way to like naturally crave those foods, because like that's what you lived off of, and they're also like comfort foods, right? And so yeah, I just like naturally have like it's not even a lot of weight. Like, I'm like, what, probably like 140-ish pounds, 145. But the thing is, like, after my boyfriend and stuff, like, I started to just like binge eat a lot. Like, I've always struggled the most with binge eating more than anything, but then I would like kind of start to restrict, and then I even tried bulimia. But like, I also watched my aunt, this is another thing, I also watched my aunt who struggled with drugs as well in the home. Like, she's always had a lot of stomach issues, and so I always saw her like and listened to her puke like my entire childhood. And so I just like, it's not as much, like, I wouldn't say I do still have a fear of throwing up, but I wouldn't say it's a phobia. Like, it used to be a phobia. Like, I would have a stomach ache and I would have a fucking panic attack and make myself nauseous because of how scared I got of throwing up, which was like incredibly ironic. And I would literally hold in, like, if I had the flu, I would hold in my puke for like hours and hours and hours until like I literally couldn't anymore, because that is how horrible it was. And I would like avoid taking naps because I knew when I woke up I was gonna throw up. Like, that's how scared I was. And so I wasn't able to like indulge in like bulimia as much because like that phobia was so instilled. But like laxatives, and then like, you know, and that's been back and forth. Like, I've had struggle with like disordered eating because like it never followed into like the typical like actual criteria for an eating disorder, which is like so fucking stupid in my opinion. Just in general, because it's very competitive, and being on like online like blogs and websites that talk about it, it's like, it's a very common experience for people who have struggled with eating disorders, I've noticed, to like be like, I have to fit into this criteria. I have to be diagnosed as anorexic in order to be valid. And it's like, oh my god. Bro. And especially with bulimia too, it's like, it's so stupid. And doctors are like, in a lot of cases, from my experience, from other people's, they're just very negligent when it comes to this matter and very dismissive. Like, I remember one time, like, it was like when I was, so I'll go through the history first. So then, you know, that's honestly kind of what led me to, I don't know, there was a lot of things that led me to that first trip in the mental hospital. I didn't go willingly, but that was one of them, because I would binge eat after, like, I would only restrict for a couple days. And because it was such like a shame cycle, like when I get stuck in these shame cycles, like I indulge in the behavior a lot. It's kind of like a porn addiction. Like, you'll watch porn and then you'll feel super, super guilty and you'll hate yourself and you'll take it out on yourself. And that's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna watch porn within like the next couple hours to the next day, and it just like becomes this vicious cycle, right? So that's how it was for me with eating. And so like, in order to reinforce and like punish myself for that, I would self-harm. And I would literally self-harm like every fucking day, because I just hated myself. Like, I literally fucking hated myself so much. Like, I thought, like, I literally saw it as a belief system, like, the only way that it's justified that I stay alive is if I self-harm myself. And yeah. And then sophomore year too, like, I think like, yeah, it was the same thing, back and forth with that. Lots of laxatives, whatever. And then like junior year, and then I started to kind of indulge in bulimia a bit more. And then this year I've fallen a little bit more on the restrict tendencies, but then I fall back even harder into binge eating. So very intense, very like, it just gets worse each time, right? So I've kind of just like, I never have lost more than like 5 to 10 pounds, really, which makes it feel incredibly more invalidating. And I know that it's not anymore. Like, it's interesting because even with all my insecurities, like, I have an inherent sense and knowledge that I am enough. Like, everyone is simply enough just by existing, because your existence is worthy. And I understand that, but it's like, I still, like, that humanity, that ego still says like, oh, like, I'm not healed here, like, I need you to heal me. And that's where kind of it stems from. And so it's like, given all of this, like, that's all the history behind my body. And because it's such like a huge can of worms, like, it takes a lot of time to unravel and unprogram and like decode all this stuff. So it's kind of always something that's like put on the back burner. But like, I'll just like, when I look in the mirror, like, I don't look in the mirror for too long, or like, I'll even try and like say some nice things to myself, or like, you know, I don't really feel negatively about my body anymore, because I've kind of just put some distance between me and my body, with like, in order to kind of protect myself from that. But it's also like, I know I'm going to need to heal it at some point, and that's why I talked to my therapist about it, because I really don't know how to navigate something like that. And like, I do use ChatGPT, but like, that's like a whole can of worms, and I'm already doing so much. Like, I really want to honor like how much time and space like dealing with and processing something like that would take, you know? And so I wouldn't say I avoid it to the point that it's like bad, but I'm more just kind of detached from my body in a sense. Like, I just like also don't really view my body as myself, I guess. anymore, because like I just don't really feel attached to like the physical world. Like I don't feel, it's not that I don't feel connected to it, I just don't really feel attached. Like I don't really get attached to like people or like places or things. Like I don't really miss them. And I'm sure that part of it is like a survival, like, oh, like I gotta stay some distance, but it's not like an avoidant thing. It's more just like I just don't like have like those attachments as much, you know? I just don't feel like it's part of my character anymore after I've like experienced that intense ego death I had like last year. I just don't experience that same attachment that I had before. And it's not really, I'm sure part of it, like I said, is out of that self-preservation, survival stuff. But I feel like for the most part, it's honestly just like I'm evolving beyond that. And I just realized like my body is not me, my thoughts are not me, my feelings are not me, these people, this place, whatever, this is not me. Like I'm allowed to move, I'm allowed to grow, I'm allowed to sever these ties if they no longer serve me, etc. But anyway, and with this hot springs trip, that's the whole thing I'm getting around to. I am insecure about my weight because I have just been like allowing myself to like kind of, like I said, put that on the back burner, because if I put too much focus on my body or my eating habits or whatever, it's like I start to hyper focus on it. And I would rather just like, I can't meticulously plan out everything when I'm on a journey like this, because then that all or nothing, like perfectionist, like Cypher, as I would say, like Cypher starts to kick in, and he starts to tell me like, oh, like this journey has to look a certain way. You have to do this and you have to do this and you have to do this. And it's like, even when I have a good productive day, at the end of the day, it's like, he'll say like, oh, you still didn't do enough. Because it's that perfectionist. Like I've just always very, very, very much been a perfectionist, and that's very deeply ingrained in me as well from being a child and my childhood and everything. Just because I feel like I had very like high kind of academic expectations and expectations in the home, like this role I had to fulfill. And so I'm just like not trying to put too much focus on my body. Like I do my best to eat healthy. I allow myself to eat like shit sometimes. Like it's just natural, and try and go on walks, like, you know, when I can, like take care of myself. It's more like a focusing on like what my soul needs, how I need to recharge, what I can do to get through the day, but like trying to evolve beyond that mindset of getting through the day and just doing a lot of this inner work that like people just don't really see. Like a lot of it is just sitting in my room and like journaling for hours, or filming these videos, or having really in-depth conversations where I'm like properly exchanging energy with people, and people just don't see that stuff. And so I have gained weight, and so I'm worried about the hot springs trip for that. And also I've stopped shaving because I'm just like, I don't know. It's weird. As I started to shift into alignment, I kind of just stopped shaving because I just don't feel like I really care enough to shave anymore. It's just like, oh my God, body hair, you know? But of course, like society is very deeply embedded into women, like, hey, body hair isn't feminine. And so of course it's still naturally an insecurity of mine. But the biggest thing besides my body that I'm worried about, because whatever, you know, I'll get past that, it'll be fine. It's more about having a good time in the water. And I love the water too. Like I always tell myself, like whenever I've been insecure, I'm like, no, like I'm too insecure. Like in the past, like I always wore makeup every single day. I don't wear makeup anymore. Like I'll wear it kind of like rarely or like on special occasions, but like I just naturally, like as I've stopped wearing makeup, I just naturally think that I'm like more pretty and stuff. And I also just don't really care enough because like I don't have that attachment to my body, like I said. And so that's like, I'm proud of myself for that, because I remember like I would not even go out in public, like at a grocery store. I would not even go on a walk without makeup. And now it's like I do everything without makeup. And I would like, if I would go to the beach, or I would be on vacation, or I would go swimming or something, and be like, I'm not going to put my head under the water. I'm not even going to go swimming because like I'm insecure in my body. And then I would always just get in the water because I love the water. I love the water so much, guys. Like it's literally my happy place, is like the ocean, being in the water. Like that is when I feel most at peace, genuinely, is when I'm in the water. And so I know that like that's just going to like it's not even gonna matter. Like everything else is not really gonna matter because I'll be in the water, I'll be with my boyfriend, I'm gonna be happy. But the biggest thing that I'm worried about is hanging out with the friends, because and that's the thing too, is it's not like I need reassurance, like I need like some like advice or someone to tell me like, you know, things. Like I don't need a response, basically. It's more just like I need the space to talk to myself, because I already understand and I've already prepared myself for this, and I already, you know the consequences. But like I said, as I've started to be myself more and more authentically, wholeheartedly, you know, allowing my soul to slip through, not dominated by the ego, the survival, like, in my actions, yes, but in my character, no. And I'm met by silence. I'm met by silence a lot, or people just don't know how to respond, or they'll ask a question, I'll genuinely respond, and people will be like, it's not that deep. Or they'll just bring it back to something that's like super insanely superficial, that just feels like an NPC dialogue, respectfully. And I'm preparing for that, to like bare my whole heart and soul, because it's like, how on a hot springs trip for like 4 to 5 days, it's like, of course, like I love those moments where we're joking and we're having fun and it's just lighthearted and like it doesn't have to be heavy or anything. Like I need those moments too. Like I don't always want to have a deep conversation, of course not, but it's also like for 4 to 5 days, if I'm gonna be on this trip, like I need to have some sort of like soul like connection between these people. Like that's just who I am. Like I'm not the type of person to be around people and not have some sort of really, really, really deep emotional like moment where we really connect, you know, like that's just not who I am. And so I'm preparing for the consequences of that, how people are going to respond or engage with me, because I don't really feel like, I mean, I could, but like I said, playing this role and not allowing myself to be myself is incredibly less sustainable, and it feels fucking awful. And so it becomes like more and more impossible for me to like dilute or filter myself into this person anymore, or pretend to be someone that I'm not, to be less than I am. So yeah, there's that. And then I can't remember, that's like July, right? And then yeah, no, that's June. No, that's May. And then June, I know that, let's see, what do I have planned in June? Oh, right, I have a camping trip. I think it's like the 6th to the 9th. I'm pretty nervous about that for the same reasons, basically. And it's also camping. I've never really been the biggest fan of camping. I like the nature aspects, but I always get so, it's such a silly reason, but I always get so unlucky with going camping, specifically for the shits. Just for shitting. That's literally it. Every time I go camping and I go shitting, it is literally like the worst pooping experience of my life. Not because I'm like, yes, like pooping in the woods is like the entire thing, right? But it's not that. It's like I'm either always like swarmed by bugs, which like, yeah, you're camping, duh. Or like they're just the most vile shits. It's like literally my asshole has opened up as like a portal to hell and like earth. It's horrible. Like every time I go camping, I swear to God. And yeah, so anyway, but I'm sure it'll like, I don't even know what the campsite's gonna be like anyway, but yeah, so same reasons. And the pooping, of course, the pooping is very important. And then I have a Universal trip with my grandpa and my cousins, which I'm really excited for. And especially I'll be going with my older cousin too, and we're able to have conversations like this. Like I'm properly able to exchange energy with her and like feel more sustained and more energized, rather than just draining and putting on this mask. Like I don't have to do that with her. Like I love my cousin. Like she's actually an inspiration to me in a lot of ways. Just because I feel in some ways she's kind of more like, she has a lot of trauma that she needs to process and deal with, of course, and like I feel like, honestly, I've probably done a bit more of that work, but not because she's not able to or not capable. It's just because I don't think she's been given as many opportunities and as many spaces that have been, like, created in order to deal with that, you know what I mean? Like, I've just been in therapy way longer than her, like, that's an example. And, yeah, but, like, she just is herself. Like, she's just kind of acts herself and has for probably longer than I have, and I really admire that about her. Like she just gives me that little reminder that like, oh my god, the world's not gonna explode if like I'm myself, you know? But yeah, and I'm excited for that, but like I'm also, it's more just the fact that like, and then after that, right, July, my boyfriend's birthday, my family's leaving, I have to stay home, watch the dog, which will actually be really nice to have some time alone to myself, because it's just like, then I don't feel like my nervous system is in constant fight or flight from like the emotional like stress and like the futile nature of it and like the surroundings and the repeating patterns, etc., and all the emotional baggage and memories, whatever. So I'll just kind of be able to relax a little bit. But then like mid-July, I'm moving to California. So it's not the fact that like all of these events are happening necessarily that stresses me out. It's more just the fact that like it's just a lot. Like, it's a lot. And that's overwhelming for me as it is, as someone who's, like, dealing with all of this and processing. And, like, I've also been working on a lot of my trauma lately, so I've just been feeling a lot more emotional and sensitive and kind of teetering this very thin line, like, this gray area of, like, allowing myself to, like, feel and, like, process what I can while not, like, feeling so much that I feel overwhelmed or, like, I start to shut down because of it. So I'm just trying to be very mindful of that, you know what I mean, and serve myself, protect my peace, while also doing what I can to, like, function and interact for the most part, because it's, like, being myself completely and just avoiding those relationships, like, that's not going to serve me either, because then you feel, like, so critically lonely, and then you don't have that connection aspect, even if the connection isn't as deep as you would like it to be. But yeah, I'm moving, and this is everything that's been going on, and right now, today's just been really fucking hard. I'm overwhelmed. I tried to have a conversation with my grandpa about it. It just felt like the same dialogue repeating itself, like I had to constantly explain myself to him, even though I'm incredibly grateful for everything he does, and I had to preface multiple times when he asked me why I was moving to California, and I was like, told him why and everything, and it's just like I kept having to preface, like, this is not an attack, like, I do not blame you or my aunt or Alex or, like, I mean, my aunt or uncle, like, I don't blame anybody. Like, I don't blame you guys. Like, I understand why everything is the way that it is, and I'm not asking for, like, some emotional reconciliation or for you to, like, heal this inner child, because I've let go of those expectations, and I understand that you, in order to do that, you would have to bring that mindfulness and that awareness to yourself and start to heal your own, like, inner traumas, and that's not something that I can ever expect of people. And so I just have felt a lot more grace and love for other people in that sense, because I've let go of those expectations, but, like, still, you know what I mean? Like, I literally had to tell him straight up at a point, because we just kept revisiting the same thing over and over. I was like, listen, I'm past this point. I don't feel that this needs to be addressed. It does not feel necessary to me, but if you want to keep talking about it, we can. And he was like, no. And that was his sign, like, I'm not willing, right? But I just, yeah, I mean, it's just a lot, and I just need to fucking yap and allow myself to feel, bro. That's it. Not have to explain myself all the time or dilute or filter myself, and, like, there's so much planning and so much change, and, like, all of this shit that's going to happen in California and before California is all part of the process, and it's meant to happen because it's preparing myself for something greater and letting go of things that don't serve me and becoming a new person and learning to integrate all of these character archetypes inside of me and working on all this trauma and blah, 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 blah. You know? Anyway, I don't know. I feel like I've said what I need to say. I just needed to yap about fucking everything and allow myself to feel and sit in a parking lot at 10 p.m. and create that space for myself, because I needed that today. That's what I needed. And this is a way of honoring Leora, which is the embodiment. So, bye guys. I love you. I love you. If you want this, thank you. I love you so much. You're so awesome sauce, and never forget it. You're great.